attached to the
Hi,
Soul Eater.
welcome back to this look into GMGOW
You know what
difficulty.
I've been doing Bari now?
Kratos is right where we left him, in the heart of the Volinder mines, looking to confront that Soul Eater we just saw, and reclaim Andvari's ring. But before we do that, we have to, as I said last time, get through this room that we just came from. And there's a fight in here that can be kind of tricky. And as I hinted at last time, or said explicitly, I'm gonna make some decisions here that make this fight maybe a little harder than it needs to be. That fire pot ahead of me, I kind of get obsessed with those during this fight, and that becomes sort of a major distraction. This fight consists of a couple of these nightmare parasites, and you can take one of them out pretty consistently, just like I did there, by running up and doing an executioner's cleave on it. The other one tends to make a beeline for this heavy draugr, which I think is a good decision on its part. Good job, Nightmare Parasite. That's a good choice. Props to you for that one. This fight is, like I said, 2 of these Nightmare Parasites, and then there are a bunch of draugr, one heavy, this dual-wielding guy shows up, and then a bunch of normal, generic draugrs. And then there's a projectile guy up on top there that comes in and harasses you from above. And in this fight, like right here, I'm looking at all these fire pots, and I'm thinking, man, I'd really like to launch some of these lighter guys into these fire pots. That would be... It's not something I really explicitly tried to do in previous playthroughs in this area. The couple times I've been through GMGOW mode, I don't recall like really thinking of that as like a way of insta-killing enemies, when it totally is. It's like tiny little places where you can effectively get ring outs or pins. I mean, they're not ring outs or pins, but they do sort of the same thing. So here, I get my wish, and of course this is attempt 2. I already died once here. And I put myself in this corner, the camera's not helping me out, and get stun locked by that heavy and just immediately get shredded. So that went about as poorly as is possible. So take 3 here, and we go with our usual opening. This one is unusual. I end up killing both nightmare parasites, and at that moment I'm like, well, this fight should be pretty easy now. And then I think, like, I can't win now. I don't want to imply in this video that the best way to get through this fight is to take out both nightmare parasites right in the beginning. I don't even know if you can consistently do that. I mean, maybe there's a way, but so my heart wasn't in it this time. That's my excuse. And these draugrs, I think they sense that right away, and they're only too happy to oblige and give me a respawn. So this is take 4, I believe. And here we go again. And already we've got a fire pot kill, so that's nice. That's really what I'm looking for here. This guy right here, I'm too close. I didn't want to launch him into it because I knew I'd get burned, so I tried to sort of scoop him into it. Didn't work out. In retrospect, I should have just thrown my axe directly at the fire pot, but wasn't thinking too clearly. And bang, I'm nailed, sort of skewered by combination heavy draugr to the front and projectile to the rear. This is not going great here, and we of course begin with the same opening. You know what they say about doing the same actions over and over and expecting different results. I think they say it indicates that you're a smart person and totally sane. And here I'm like furtively launching. Hey, we got our fire pot kill. Go for a juggle here. That works out okay. Maybe we could get... No, this guy's too close. He's ruining our fire pot launch plans, and we get nailed. We were ignoring the projectile guy there, and he caught up with us. So we have like 1 hit point at this point. That's alright. Still in this. Still alive. Hey, another fire pot kill. This is actually not going terribly, despite having 1 hit point. We have 3 enemies left. Well, 4 if you count the nightmare parasite. Now 3. It's one of the draugrs is down. But this parasite is on the loose now, and they're almost more dangerous like this. And yeah, it's nice not to have a buffed enemy, but they can make that beeline into your chest, which it does right here. Takes me out. So here we go again. Let's take, what, 5, 6? I've lost count at this point. You know, if this keeps up, I'm going to begin to associate the word mines with like repetitive and arduous toil. Here, inadvisable juggle. The heavy catches up with me. This one in particular reminds me of the very first fight in part 1 of this series, when I'm trying desperately to pin a draugr to a tree and just never get to it. This one's not going great. Not much health, but hey, we got a pot kill. That's good. That's what it's all about. And then just poorly timed cleave there. So I think at this point it was pretty late at night, and I was like, I think that's enough for now. I'm gonna come back to this tomorrow or in a couple days, and because if I could probably get through it now, but it'll probably be pretty sloppy. Let's take a break. So what comes next is loading back up and trying again like a day or 2 later. And of course we begin the same. And no, I haven't gotten over my fixation with fire pot kills. As we start juggling this guy, we notice the heavy over in the corner there. We have pretty good distance away from him, so this is a pretty safe thing so far. And we back off here, rather than push our luck with an interruption. There, I think he totally robbed me of another fire pot kill. He seemed to get in the way and block that guy. And weirdly, neither of them got frosted by that, which was sort of strange. And here, I do something I didn't do at all during those previous attempts, which is a little shield combat. You know, pretty tight quarters. Why not bonk some people into some walls, take advantage of it. There's the projectile guy done. So, this is going pretty well. There's 3 guys left, including the nightmare parasite. Atreus is helping us out. He knows I want to keep that guy near the fire pot. He knows what's up. And yay, another fire pot kill. Down to two enemies here. And there's the parasite loot. And yes, we get our revenge on it. We get an actual parry against a nightmare parasite. Now we've just got a level 2 green bar draugr. So, as you see, little breaks seem to do me well there. Hooray! Now, let's talk just briefly about this this fight. That whole time, I was, believe it or not, I was having fun. I try to, with these games, like, give myself permission to suck. I know I'm not like an amazing player. I don't expect to just like crush every fight and win on the first try and just be able to pull off all kinds of ill stuff immediately. I try to give myself permission to suck and to, you know, play like a dummy sometimes if I feel like it, you know. I know in other videos I've said things like, well, I'll like laugh at my mistakes or I'll give general advice like, oh, if you see a bunch of enemies, like don't go for the guy in the middle. Like you'll get punished if you go for the guy in the middle. You got to go for one of the guys on the outside. And like in general, I mean that is how the game mostly works, and that's pretty sound advice. But like, if you know what, if you want to go for the guy in the middle, sometimes go for the guy in the middle. I totally do, like all the time, and it's fun. And sometimes, you know, it works out and I get away with it and things go well. Sometimes I go for the guy in the middle and I end up like discovering something I wouldn't have otherwise, finding some cool new thing or pulling off some ridiculous thing that wouldn't have seen otherwise. Sometimes nothing good happens and I just die 50 times and that's my evening. But even that can have its benefits. And I just hope that in these videos, I'm not in any way like when I'm giving what I'm sort of trying to pass along how the game seems to work. I just hope I'm not discouraging you in any way from like playing playfully, from like messing around and, you know, letting loose your inner dipshit once in a while. That's all part of it. So go for the guy in the middle, or don't. You know, you do you, and I'm not trying to tell you what to do here. Anyway, I'm sorry for that spiel, and let's go back to me telling you what to do. Right. So that fight done, we can move on to the ancient or the soul eater, and I think we're going to grab here a couple shield combat moves. Shoulder barrage, which is a running heavy attack, great for knocking people off ledges, and countering strike, which is the basic parry counter punch. I usually unlock that much sooner, and it's a super helpful move, very safe to do after a parry. I didn't use it, I didn't grab it here until fairly late. It's just a move that I think in my previous plays with this game sort of tended to over rely on it, and I was trying to get away from that and still use parries but do other moves after them instead of just using countering strike after every successful parry. So this Frost Ancient fight, as we see there are fire pots down there. In past runs, I've tended to like destroy those before engaging with this guy because they're dangerous, but here I don't do that because I know some light draugr show up eventually and I'd like to launch them into it. Yeah, I'm still obsessed with that. But it ends out working out really well, and you'll see why here.
Stay quiet. Make no sudden movement. Prepare yourself.
Note, I do not take a direct line towards the Soul Eater to grab that thing. You better avoid being hit by his projectiles if you go a little serpentine. Here, managed to get in an Executioner's Cleave and a heavy axe strike before doing the grab prompt. Sometimes you can get in a few hits and you can do pretty good damage. Now watch the fire pot on the left here gets set off by this guy's little AoE attack. He blows the hell out of himself, basically. He's almost dead now. I have never seen that before. Maybe that's like a common thing everyone knows about, but like I said, I always get rid of those fire pots, so I had never seen it. With one more axe though, look, he's gone. That was like a extremely drama-free fight against a Soul Eater there. And now we just have these guys left. To celebrate here, I go for another fire pot kill, and this draugr mocks me by dissolving like a mere feet above the fire pot. But hey, we'll take it. Yeah, those ancients, you know, when you get too close, they'll hunker down and do a big AoE blast. And one, I didn't know they could set off fire pots when they do that. And two, I didn't know they could actually take damage from it. So, pretty cool. Already my fire pot obsession paying off, you see? I'm not crazy. Here, we're treating this possessed draugr much like we treat any other over-leveled enemy. And notice that ring out not only gets rid of the draugr, but the nightmare parasite as well. So that's cool. And yes, another fire pot kill. See, I knew what I was doing. I wasn't dumb to waste all that time in that big fight. Here we luck out, get a trip from behind, totally negating this guy's shield. And you're kicking this barrel from under Atreus. I don't know what he's doing up there. So that's it. That's Volander Mines completed. We get the Grip of Volander from Brock, which is a very good rare level grip. And we can move on to the final stop on our circuit around the lake, our clockwise circuit, which is, I think, the Cliffs of the Raven. It's the name of this part. And it's the fourth and final brazier fight is over here. And looks like we're grabbing more shield combat, countering crush, guardian sweep. So look at that. We have all but one shield combat purchased. Now, I know I said in an earlier video that the first brazier fight we did is the hardest one, probably. But this one, if we had done this first, would have been quite challenging. As it is now, we're pretty ramped up here. We're like almost level 3. We've got all this gear. We've got almost all of our shield combat unlocked. So many moves unlocked. So I think we won't have too hard a time with it here. But if we had done this first, it would have been pretty challenging. With this fight, you know, I'd like to take advantage of the heavy poison guy. He's pretty slow moving. So just get some distance from him and work on the Tesla worms. And then when he catches up with you, run away and repeat. Or, you know, ignore him and get hit. That works too. Alright, now we just have this guy to deal with. And as long as nothing untoward happens, like we get caught on the bow of a boat, we should be fine. So there we have it, the fourth and final brazier fight done with, which means we can now fully upgrade the versatile warrior's handle, which is not useful to us at this point. The Grip of Volander outclasses it, but it was not pointless. We also got a bunch of XP, so we'll be able to, for example, finish finish buying all the rest of our shield combat. And now we're back on the main path after that tour of the lake. We're finally back on the main path. And what's this? Level 2 green bar, guys. What a treat. It's as if all our work doing all that side questing paid off. Relish in those hit reactions. Relish in those flinches and staggers. I think things are looking up for us here.
I think you got him.
I think here I do a little self-own. Not thinking about it, I yank the axe out and poison myself. And that shot did kill the Tesselworm. Sort of hard to tell with all that mist everywhere. And here we meet Sindri for the first time. This fight can be challenging. I know I say that every fight. It's a bunch of projectile guys. I always say projectile guys. That's pretty vague. I think the game calls these guys, these particular poison bomb throwing guys, shadows. So maybe I'll try to call them shadows from now on. This is not wise, doing a juggle in the middle of all these guys, but it's early in the fight. Get away with it. We're using some of these fun shield combat moves we've recently purchased. These Tesselworms, they'll like punish you if you try to stand toe to toe and just do like R1 basic attacks on them. They can do sort of a big explosion, similar to the shadows, their evasive move when you get too close. And here, I'm playing this fight fairly conservatively, fairly safely. Just keeping all the enemies to one side of me. If I try to run in there and mix it up with more close quarters stuff, I tend to just get nailed by bombs. So, playing it fairly safe here. That one almost got me. Here, I'm deciding to weaponize this guy and turn him into a hand grenade to chuck at his buddy over there. And we do get him, but he's sort of behind the tree. I'm making sure. I wasn't quite sure if I got him or not. This final kill is sort of fun. If you watch, he gets frozen and then hit with the counter projectile, and the axe just falls from his dead form, like in a perfect line down. Grabbing all the goodies. Oh, here I stopped the fast motion just so I'd remember to point out, yeah, we just got our first rage upgrade. I remember in an earlier video I started talking about how that's a big deal, your first rage upgrade, and then I got distracted by something else. But what it means is, you have 2 rage bars, so if I use it quick enough, I'm going to have at least 2 opportunities to use rage in any fight, assuming it's full. And maybe more than 2, up to 4, more if depending on how much rage you're accumulating during the fight. But having more than one is pretty handy. You know, for ring outs or clearing status, or I also didn't mention, but rage can also just be handy when you get hit to like mitigate that, to keep yourself from getting stun locked or further punished. You can also use it to sort of cancel animations. So there's some moves that have a really slow recovery, but you can get out of that by immediately triggering rage. So people use it like as part of combos. Again here, Revenant, and last time we faced a Revenant, I didn't have any rage, so we had to fight her the old-fashioned way. This time we have plenty of rage, too much really, but there was no ledge to knock her off of. So again, had to fight her honestly.
Serve you to stop talking.
Here we got some poison wolves. They tend to give me way less trouble than the normal wolves. They're a little more mellow. They're not as aggro, as rambunctious, and you know, sometimes they just stand around puking, like this guy in the back here. Poor guy. And coming up here, we'll have our first ogre fight. With ogres, with this guy, it's helpful if you can get to the other side of him, so you don't have enemies creeping up behind you. But with ogres, surprisingly, you can it's effective to, other than this big leaping attack they do that's unblockable. You want to give them distance when they do this move, but other than that, kind of just stand toe to toe with them and trade shots and parry their attacks. Use the countering punch thing. He does that really quick sweep with his hands occasionally, and you'll see it catching me in the replay. That actually is not, like, it's just an interruption. It doesn't actually do damage. I didn't really take any hits from him. So we just have a couple guys left here. Here's a nice solid fundamentals, no frills ring out. Here's a bit of a showier ring out, the dismissive backhand at the end. We got our third frozen flame, so we can look forward to an axe upgrade coming up, and a bunch of unlocked new axe skills. So at this point, we're going to skip. We're not going to fast forward. I'm just going to cut out a bunch of stuff. Basically, you follow around Freya for like 15 or 16 minutes and help her fix up Tyr's temple, and then eventually make your way here to Alfheim. And this is where we'll pick up in the next and final episode. But before we go, just wanted to show sort of our status here. So we're extremely high level 2. We have Fury of the Ice Troll and Leviathan's Wake, which we wouldn't have if we didn't do any of that optional stuff. Same with Grip of Tangyost and Grip of Volunder. These are all from optional areas. We've got Tyr's Lost Unity Gauntlets. You know, if we'd come here straight away without doing side stuff, we'd be probably like a low level 1. We've got all of our currently unlocked axe skills purchased, and as of now, all of our shield combat purchased, and we still have like 8.5 grand XP to spend when we meet up with Sindri. So things are looking pretty good for us here. I will catch up with you guys on the next one.